Okay, let's run.
Your mission, should you choose to accept it.
It's a quest. It's a quest for fun.
Well, The Rock says, why don't we just cut right to the chase?
Okay, now he wants to get together. Well, he wants to talk.
I want you to do me a favor. I want you to tell all your friends about me.
It's showtime, folks! What are you?
Greetings, salutations, welcome to, and I quote, this is a weekly show where we introduce you to some of the best creators from all over the world, and we find out more about them by taking your questions. I am your host, Ryan of And I Quote Channel, and our guests on this week's episode is Indie Writers Extraordinaire, joining us from two very different corners of the US of A. Yours truly is in the state of Maryland. This one over here is in the state of New York. This one over here is in the state of Missouri. Please welcome Mike Tucker and Don Davis to the stage. What's up, gentlemen? How are we?
Hi.
We are great.
Awesome sauce. Happy to have you both here. We're also happy to have you here who may be watching or listening to this program right now. So do not forget to like and share this with everybody you know. If you're watching us live or what is known as a replay, thank you so much for doing that. And if you have any questions for our guests of honor, let us know in those comments. Let us know in the chat. We're more than happy to take those as they come in respectively. With all that being said and out of the way, I'll start with you, Mike Tucker. What would you say were some of your favorite books or writers growing up as a Padawan?
Don Davis was a huge influence on me. No, I'm not kidding. Before I knew that I knew Don had two other novels out called Bring on the Night, which is one of my very favorite things I've ever read. And then also a little thing called Sins of the Flesh, which got nominated for a Bram Stoker Award. So obviously, Don's the class of the show here, and I just hung out with Smith a lot when I was a kid. But other writers and artists that I just adored were Alan Moore, Stephen King. We wear our influences on our sleeves in the in our series here, Armies of the Night. So,
wow. Okay, right out of the gate, it's like, oh, I'm here because of the guy sitting next to me. That's why I'm here. Okay, appreciate that. Wow, that's a heck of a way to start a show. I haven't heard that one in a while, but I appreciate it all the same, and I appreciate you sharing that with us. Don't get me wrong. You, sir, Don, same question. Favorite writers or books growing up? Anything pop out at you?
Ray Bradbury, Edgar Allan Poe, H.P. Lovecraft, Elmore Leonard, Carl Hyacin. So I'm trying. Who am I? I know I'm missing. Did I say Stephen King? Stephen King, obviously. Robert Bloch, a lot of anthologies. I at the time that I was starting out reading, not so much writing, but there was there was a lot of good stuff out there, but it wasn't as massive as it is now. I mean, there was you had to kind of look around for a little bit.
Gotcha. Yeah, I understand. Good names there, and it's funny because a friend of mine from many months ago, I think it was, he and I were sitting down talking about this. I have yet to experience the writings of Stephen King, but I do have a copy of The Gunslinger over here on my bookshelf, so I haven't read it yet, but I have every intention of reading it. Great, my TBR list is like 6 miles deep, I'm sorry to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty bad, Don. It's pretty bad, but I'm doing my best to catch up because I've already read 8 books so far this year, which is good for me. So I'm trying to keep that momentum going. So don't get me wrong. As soon as I'm done reading a book too, I got it fresh in my mind. I read a non-spoiler review for it on Goodreads, which is an app you can put on your phone, and then I share it on social media for people to check out and say, "Hey, I read this book. Maybe you'll enjoy it." I don't know, but that's up to you, right? Because everyone's taste is different from the next. So yeah, I got some Stephen King on that shelf. Lou Tambone, who suggested it to me, so I'm going to read it at some point, Lou. I'm going to read it. Just haven't gotten to it yet. Gosh darn it, but still.
It's luckily you've only got about 150 books to choose from, so he's very prolific.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for emphasizing that point too, there, Mike Tucker. Appreciate it, man. Yeah. So yeah, I will do my best to sit down and read this stuff because I am curious. I want to get I want to experience it for myself and see how it goes. But good stuff. Appreciate you sharing that with us. And Also, Mike, just out of curiosity, though, what would you say were some of your favorite movies, past or present?
Oh, gosh, where do you start? I'm
I
a
know, right?
huge, yeah, right. Um, Again, it's one of those things where, I am of my time, right? So, Star Wars hit at just the perfect age. Um, JFK by Oliver Stone, I think, is the best edited film I've seen. Of course, everybody loves the Godfather movies and Apocalypse Now. So you go to Coppola. My favorite director is John Carpenter. So you've got, Escape from New York and They Live and Prince of Darkness right there. Those three right off the top. And then, go the other side with it. Love the Marx Brothers growing up. Groucho is definitely informs the narrator's voice in these books, without a doubt. And the Blues Brothers, Monty Python. I mean, we could spend the rest of our time together talking about, favorite film, honestly.
Yeah, that's very true. Why do you think we have so many of those different clips of movies within the and I quote intro?
Exactly.
Because it's awesome. I'm just saying. And by the way, hats off to our good friend Josh Bauer, J Bauer Art, designed that intro for us. And then our good friend and graphic designer Case, also known as the Dutch Star Wars guy, went and did a bit of a retooling of it for when we rebooted the channel as And I Quote channel. Before that, it was known as Nerd Culture at the time. So thank you to both gentlemen for putting that intro together for us. We really appreciate it all the same. What about you, Don? Do you have any favorite movies, past or present, that stand out to you?
Yeah, quite a few. I mean, it's one of those things where probably, I mean, any list would have to include The Godfather, obviously, but also things like Harold and Maude, Phantom of the Paradise, just about any Universal Monsters movie, always are going to have a strong pull for me. Probably of that group, the original Creature from the Black Lagoon is probably in the tops. And then, oh gosh, like I said, I could probably go by category, but I don't think that would be a great use of your listeners and watchers, viewers' time. So, Taxi Driver, I mean, all of that stuff. I mean, I started going to movies in the 1970. I think my first non-parental cinema that I saw in was Dirty Harry. It was a double bill back when such things existed. It was Dirty Harry and the Wild Bunch. Perfect fare for a 13-year-old. But those were always good.
Yeah, good picks. We actually just did a few weeks ago. We did a 55th anniversary watch along of Dirty Harry, the Westwood movie. Yeah.
Yeah. It looks a little dated for its time, or for now, given where that type of thing has gone to. But it very much made a huge impression at the time.
Yeah, it's definitely a great movie. There's no doubt about it. I definitely think it's a great movie. It still is. I mean, 55 years later, I don't care. I mean, the first time I saw Dirty Harry was a few years ago, and I really liked it, and I still do to this day. So, we all feel lucky when we're sitting down and watching that Eastwood classic. So there you go. There's the rub. There's the rub, right? There's the rub right there. It happens sometimes. On the flip side of the coin, though, Don, what would you say are some of your favorite TV series, past or present?
Let's see. Well, I really enjoyed Outer Limits, Twilight Zone, and growing up, I mean, the Hill Street Blues. I like a lot of the cop stuff, Propaganda. And then comedy-wise, it was always. I liked a lot of late night talk shows. I watched an awful lot of late night talk shows growing up. Back whenever you really only had Johnny Carson, and then after Carson you had Tom Snyder. So those were always interesting to me. But outside of like comedy TV shows, I mean, I watch a lot of them. Watching the Further Bad Decisions of Todd Margaret right now, which is several years old, but it's got David Cross in it. It's very funny. I mean, but small doses is my recommendation.
Yeah, I got you. I'm surprised you didn't throw in Reverend Jim from Taxi taking that driver's test. What does the mean?
Oh, I used to love Taxi and Cheers. Some of those have held up a lot better than others, but
what does the yellow mean? Slow down. Okay. Well, anyway, such a great scene. That's a 5-minute clip, and that's just some of the best scenes we've seen in comedy, right? So, and one of those times many moons ago when I started going to conventions, I met Christopher Lloyd, and he and I got a photo op together with a DeLorean behind us and a clock tower backdrop.
Oh, wow.
So I got my Back to the Future quota met because it's one of my all-time. I mean, I think it should be everybody's one of their all-time favorite movies because that movie is perfect from A to Z. There's nothing wrong with it. It moves. It's hilarious. It's timeless. It's ageless. You can't touch it. You can't reboot or remake it. So, yeah. And by the way, Christopher Lloyd was very nice when I met him. He was a very nice man. So
that's great. I mean, you hate it whenever you meet somebody like that and they turn out to be not what you would hope them to be.
Yeah, they could be sometimes nice, sometimes not. It depends on who you ask. But definitely good stuff. Once again, this is Anti Quote. Don't forget to like and share if you're watching this live on a replay. Thank you for doing so. If you have any questions for our guests, Savannah, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. More than happy to take those as they come in respectively. So, what was it, Mike Tucker? When did you start writing?
Professionally at 16. My first published piece was in the local newspaper. I had a regular beat. Did the whole school newspaper thing in high school, did it again in college, it's still in college. The journalism part actually helped to inform the fiction writing, obviously, believe it or not, just because it teaches you to kind of get to the point of the story as fast as possible, find the most important, interesting thing to a reader, and leave all the boring parts out, right? So, it treated me pretty well for a long time. I was pretty successful at it. I got to meet a lot of interesting people, U.S. presidents, members of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, movie actors, whatever. For a while there, if you were coming through St. Louis hyping a project of some sort, you were going to probably talk to me for about 20 minutes about it. And then, that work kind of died down a little bit. And that's when I started focusing a little bit more on the fiction writing. So, which inevitably led me here with Don.
It was Kismet. It was destiny. No, that's awesome sauce, man. It's amazing how things just start to connect and put themselves together. It really is. What about you, Don, sir? When did you start writing?
Well, this is going to sound way too precious, but I third grade, and it's funny because my teacher called to speak to my mom at the time to tell her. I don't even know what the assignment was. I just might have been something she caught me scribbling at my desk instead of doing my work. But she told my mom that, hey, he's you ought to encourage him, to write. And
Thank you.
So I did for a while, and then I didn't submit anything. I think there was a Twilight Zone writing contest in the early 1980s that I might have. I think I made 2 submissions to that, but outside of that, there's a bunch of other things that I've written. But the first thing I submitted what to be published was Sins of the Flesh. Oh, and that was a long time ago, 1988, I believe.
Gotcha. Hey, 80s was a happening decade, man. It was rad. So,
Yeah.
it was rad. It was. You had the Pizza Huts, you had the toys, you had the movies, the television series, the cassette tapes, the boom boxes, the fashions. Don't get me wrong, the fashions were there. So
Yep.
it's all good. Everyone was carrying around a Walkman, riding on a skateboard behind a car, trying to get to school faster than the speed of light, right? And they were booming Huey Lewis and the News in their headphones. So what's wrong with that? I don't find there to be a problem with that personally, professionally, or whatever. But hey, everyone's music taste is going to be different from the person sitting next to you. So who the heck knows, right?
Yes, and you might as well subject it to it. Subject them to it. Just say, hey, I like this band. Why don't you?
That's actually a valid point. I mean, who doesn't like Huey Lewis in the News? But anyway, I mean, obviously, they're sometimes they're just too darn loud, and we like them to be loud anyway. It's fine.
Yeah.
It never hurt my eardrums, as far as I know, because I can still hear pretty clearly in this stage of my late career. I mean, I may be pushing 100 here, but I can still hear better than some. So who knows, right? But it's just interestingly enough, Mike, what would you say are some of the rewards about being a writer?
Oh, the wealth and worldwide fame, of course.
Exactly. With New York Times bestsellers list. Yeah.
Oh, you bet. No, it's being able to kind of sit down and get your thoughts on paper, on a screen, whatever you're working with, and have it resonate with at least yourself. The nice thing that in my situation is no matter what I'm writing fiction wise, I've already got somebody reading it because it's going to be done, right? And vice versa. So we're already, guaranteed that this stuff isn't going to be ignored by anybody. Might be ignored by everybody, but at least one person's going to read it, right? So it's the next sentence, the next paragraph, and then having something done that didn't exist in the universe before you sat down to do it. So other than that, that it really is just sort of like its own reward, I should say.
Rock on, man. Rock on. What about you, Don? What are the rewards for being a writer from your standpoint?
Well, I think it's the groupies, but chance to make a lot of connections there. But outside of that, it's probably pretty similar to Mike's. I mean, I've always, I grew up in a time whenever, there were not, you didn't have nonstop horror, fantasy, or whatever. You didn't have nonstop TV. So you had 4 channels, one of them being PBS. And then, so I spent a lot of time making up my own stories. And so I just enjoy the process. I enjoy, jotting stuff down and seeing where it goes. I mean, I usually have a pretty good idea of what I want to do with everything, but I still kind of surprise myself occasionally, as I go along. But I just really like making stuff up, I guess.
Yeah, our imaginations can run wild, and who knows what kind of ideas may come out of those pieces of our imagination, for sure. What would you say are some of the challenges about being a writer there, Mike?
Finding time to do it, honestly. I have many different clients that I do this kind of work for, depending on what the work is, right? Primarily technical writing, et cetera, et cetera. The fiction's for me, or it's for Don and I, or for my family, however you want to call that. So it's just a matter of you got to go where the work is, and you got to go where the clients are. And and life gets in the way, and there's always going to be something else that needs to get done. So you just kind of have to, be judicious about picking your spots. And then when you finally do get that opportunity, it takes a lot of discipline to kind of sit down and put the next couple sentences together and the next couple paragraphs together. So that's really, the for me, the most challenging part is the work ethic more than anything else.
Understood. What about you, Don? Biggest challenges about being a writer? What do you think?
there's always something to pull you away. I mean, like Mike said, it does take a lot of dedication. I'm at a little different stage in my life than Mike is, and so now that I am officially retired, I do have more time to write, and that's the question is, do I? So I try. Most of the people who've been really successful at writing talk all the time about having a schedule. I used to work in publishing. I was on a lot of author tours. I listened to a lot of interviews that were kind of had a similar type of a thing, and that question came up in all of them, and it always disappointed me because I was not very dedicated in regards to that. Ideas come quick. Finished product requires a lot more focus than what I had. So anyway, it's just simply being able to set a schedule and pretty much try to keep it. And I think that's one of the reasons why Mike and I were able to, or at least I'll speak for me, we're able to finish 1,000+ pages so far of Armies of the Night. So it just comes down to making sure that you have set that time aside and do something with it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. Time is everything. It also gives you more time to collect those ridiculously good amount of figures you have behind you. Goodness gracious. I'm seeing Hulks, I'm seeing Creatures from Black Lagoons. I'm seeing Batman, the animated series. I'm thinking to myself, okay, you got a really good looking geek den / man cave back there. My gosh, those are some sick collectibles. And the words of our good friend Joker, where do you get those wonderful toys?
Well, first of all, thank you. Yeah. I mean, I love toys, and then I've actually gotten rid of quite a few, and there's, believe it or not, most of them were bought as they were released, although there's a pretty good toy show here in St. Louis, runs, I think, about 8 times a year. And I usually show up to that and kind of haunt and see what's there that might catch my interest. But yeah, I've actually thinned out a lot of them, but thank you. Yeah. Big Universal Monsters, Batman, and then the Marvel heroes. And I kind of missed the Star Wars bug. The toys. I was just, at the time that the first movie came out and the flood of toys, I was not really collecting toys. So missed a lot of those.
Missed out on a bit of the Kenner line when they came out back in the late 70s and early 80s, if I remember correctly.
You are correct.
So it's true. I know my history. It's very good. With that being said, though, goodness gracious. Oh, I'm so jealous. I wish I had a man cave like Don over here, because that background of yours is just awesome, tacular. But with that being said, though, what advice would you give to aspiring writers out there, Don?
I think the biggest thing is just keep plugging away. I mean, it takes a while. I mean, it's like any other skill, and obviously it is a skill, and you have to you just have to keep practicing, and also develop relatively thick skin, or forget relatively, just develop thick skin, because a lot of people will not see your work the same way you do. Now, sometimes they're right. I mean, not everybody hits a home run every time, but I would say you listen to a lot of conversations. You should definitely read a lot. And I've always told people that you can learn as much from something that's bad as something that's great. I mean, if all you ever do is try to model yourself after the greatest stuff, you're probably for a long time going to either be delusional and think that you're meeting that bar, or else you're going to be disappointed and be realistic and say, nah, this is not that. So unfortunately, it's a lot harder. Well, in some ways, it's a lot harder to get stuff published now, at least from the big publishers. But on a plus side, with so many other options for self-publishing and all the other media outlets, I think there's a lot of ways for people to kind of develop their chops out there. But getting readers is can be tough.
Yeah,
but you have to stick with it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Just keep plugging away. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. So
it does.
That is very true. Well done. I can't remember exactly who the person or the quote that said that originally, but hey, it's a great quote. We're going to keep using it because life can teach you a few things. So I'm just throwing that out there as a for instance. Same question to you, good sir, Mike. What advice would you throw out there for aspiring writers?
Listen to everything Don said. The second thing I would say though is, and this is true of anybody or anything, right? We'll talk about writing, but you can talk about learning to play a musical instrument, learning how to draw, learning how to paint, doing something like that. It doesn't really matter what advice I'm going to give you or that Don's going to give you or any of it, because if you really want to do it, if it's really something you need to do, you're going to do it. There's nothing that's going to be able to stop you. And the vice versa. If you don't really need to do it, if this isn't something that you really want to do, there's nothing I can say that's going to be able to help you there. So that's the second bit of advice. But number one is just replay what Don just said the last couple of minutes.
Yeah. Another good quote about writing, and I always try to keep this somewhat top of mind. I think it's attributed to Mark Twain, but it's only a fool ever wrote for money. And that's the thing. There was a period of time where the general perception among the public was, oh, you're a published writer, you must, and then they're all thinking Stephen King and whoever, Danielle Steele, or whatever. And at that point in time, and this goes back a few years, but the average earnings for a writer was right at $10,000. It might have been, it might be a little more than that now. And once again, average writer, you start throwing all the big boys in there, then it changes somewhat. But outside of that, most people would say, you have to, since most people are not going to find a winning lottery ticket with with their project they're writing, it always has to do with productivity, write and then sit down and write again, and then you have to keep writing, you have to produce stuff. I mean, I think that's one of the things that really helps working with Mike, is that because of his background in newspapers, he's used to deadlines, he's used to quick turnarounds. You don't have a whole lot of time to sit back and bask in the glow of whatever you've just done, or likewise be unhappy with it because you're on to the next thing.
Yeah, definitely. And it kind of reminds me of the quote that was said by this character many years ago in the movie. I know the book has been around a lot longer than the movie, because that's just the way things are. But Gandalf says, all you have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to you. Yeah. So, which, you don't think it, 25 years ago when I first saw those movies, I didn't you don't think about that stuff. You're just in it to watch the movie and experience it for what it is. But now that you think of it, it's like, man, Gandalf and some of these other characters within those movies, they drop some really heavy wisdom on you that you gotta listen for and have it click in your mind, because we're not going to be here forever. Unfortunately, we may say that we're mortal, brother. But we're not. We're just not. So you gotta do your best with the time that's given to you. I mean, granted, I just started writing for the first time last year, and I enjoyed it. I want to keep doing it because I don't write for money. I write because I think it's fun. I think writing is fun. I think writing your stuff down on paper, putting it, what is it called? Punching those keys on the keyboard is supposed to be fun. You know, some people write in silence, some people write with music playing in the background, right? And that, hey, it's fine. I actually write when I have music playing. You know, music helps me get the juices flowing, and it also keeps me focused on what I'm doing. So, do what works best for you, but at the same time, if you got an idea, put it on paper, because you're only going to live once. So
and that's the thing. I mean, I keep a couple of different little spiral notebooks, and as I'm watching or TV or listening to music or any number of things, I will get an idea. Something that's going on will spark an idea. And I found out a long time ago that if I don't write those down, they will be lost. I mean, they will not. I won't be able to remember them forever, or I might not remember them exactly the way that they first came forth. So, yeah, I've got notebooks full of little things that probably only make sense to me. I don't know. They probably would make sense to Mike, because some of them are things that we've talked about. But outside of that, but yeah, I would. You're definitely right. Take notes. Just because you're not going to do anything with it now doesn't mean you won't ever. And a lot of ideas like that, they'll just continue to morph and develop. So.
Fair points. Yeah, this segment of A Night Quote is brought to you by, here it is, Spiral Notebooks. Get one today at your local store. Hashtag not a sponsor of this show. But we're happy that you're here. We're also happy that you're here listening or watching this episode of A Night Quote with Mike Tucker and Don Davis. Don't forget to like and share if you're watching us live on the replay. Thank you for doing so. And if you have any questions for our guests of honor, let us know in those comments. Let us know in the chat. So let's get to the main event here, folks. I'm just curious. So Armies of the Night sounds terrifying. It sounds like a horror movie that's going to keep me up tonight. But I'm just curious, what exactly is Armies of the Night, and how did this come about? Whoever wants to start, whoever wants to jump into this one. Go ahead, Ron, go for it.
Okay. Well, Mike hasn't really mentioned this, but when we first met, he was teaching an art class, and he came in to ask if he could put up a promotional poster for it. And I said, oh, yeah, sure. And I mean, it was great because the students would come in and buy the art book from me. So it was a very symbiotic relationship. So, but, we talked about stuff, and it finally became apparent that we were pretty simpatico when it comes to a lot of our tastes. So, and I told him I had, I've always wanted to write comics. And so I had an idea for a comic series, which was Armies of the Night. So it's funny because whenever I first told Mike, oh, there you go. Hang on, ask a collector's item. Hang on. But whenever I first told him, asked him if he would want to collaborate. He was very polite, but I'm sure he had been approached many times by people by then about, hey, I've got an idea or this or that. And so he was used to being, he had a lot of practice at being polite, but then I find, I understand that you just don't take somebody at their word. Some crazy guy standing behind the counter at a comic book store, but but so I brought copies of my books in, and he's like, oh, this is a real guy. So I presented it to him. We started plotting. So it actually started a long time ago, 30 years, just as a comic book. And then the market being what it was, I think one issue saw print. The second issue, I think, was finished, but there was a whole universe sketched out and this and that. And a couple of years ago, Mike contacted. I mean, we remain in contact, and he asked me, "Hey, would you consider, us writing that as a novel?" And it's, sure. I mean, I always liked the idea. So And it's just influenced by a lot of different horror and dark fantasy. You asked earlier about the fun stuff about writing. Well, this is one of those situations where you can just throw whatever you want into the pot, and as long as you don't get too crazy, it's a lot of fun. You don't want to lose your focus, but that's how it started. It started as a comic book, and then it kind of sat, untouched, at least physically. I think mentally, both of us were still kind of toying around with it. But and then he suggested it, and away we went.
In the words of our good friend Spock. Well, sounds intriguing. Armies of the Night got a bit of a, what is it called? Night of the Living Dead meets, I don't know, maybe Carpenter's a thing. I'm not sure. But seems like it's going well for you guys. And congratulations on the storyline and all the volumes and the parts of the series that have been released thus far. I take it there's going to be a lot more to come with the Armies of the Night. Things are going to get a lot bumpier in the night, and you two are the ones who bump back.
Yeah.
We're probably better than halfway through the fourth book, and there's a lot of stuff there. I mean, if we can continue to generate interest in the story, and probably even if we can't, we'll continue to write that. But lots more to come there if you like the story, and if you don't, bad news. Lots more to come. Of course, you don't have to read them, but I guess I should say, you really have to read them.
Right. To each their own. You could have thrown in the catchphrase, "You're going to like the way you look after reading." I guarantee it. Isn't that right, Mike? See, Mike's pointing at me. He's laughing. He likes this idea. You want to add that to your slogan on your T-shirts there, Mike? Is that what you're going to do? Because I see you wearing an Armies of the Night T-shirt at the show that you're at right now. You should add under that, "You're going to like the way you look after reading our series." I guarantee it. There it is. Yeah. There's a hat. You want to put some wording on that? Or no, maybe not. Probably wouldn't work.
Now that's from an old commercial, and I keep trying to figure out where.
Okay,
is it like Krell?
Do you want me to tell you? Because I can.
Yeah,
it's Men's Warehouse, isn't it?
It's Men's Warehouse.
Oh, that's right.
The clothing store, right? Isn't that what it is? The clothing store, yeah. The men's.
And I remember. When they used to advertise on TV.
That's where I picked it up from.
Yeah.
Because I watch so much TV, it destroys my brain cells, but at the same time, it enhances my brain cells because I'm smarter.
There you go.
I can pull these quotes out of my hat. Well, I'm not wearing a hat figuratively or literally right now, but I do have a few. How many hats do I own? Was it 2? No, 3. Well, 3, counting the beanies, it's probably 6. 6 hats, but that's it. That's all I own. I don't own like a billion hats like Mike over here.
Now, do you have a favorite hat?
Do I have a favorite hat? That's a great question. I would say, I do have. Yeah, I have a favorite. I like these hats that are like flex fit. One size fits all, kind of baseball caps, kind of thing.
Yeah.
When I was watching college basketball a few years ago, the 2 teams I gravitated towards, Don, were the NC State Wolfpack and the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. So I got myself a Notre Dame Fighting Irish flex fit hat, more specifically, and it has the catchphrase, "Play like a champion today."
Yeah.
From the University of Notre Dame. So that's one of my favorite hats because it's motivating, and also it's green. And my family's part Irish, so we appreciate that all the same. So I would say that's my favorite hat. But then the honorable mention to that, though, even though I don't wear it, I just keep it because it's a collector's item, kind of like what you have behind you there, Don. I have a Superman hat.
Oh yeah.
Because with all due respect, Superman is my number 1 favorite character of all time. He's my number 1 favorite character of all time. This is concerning the comics, the movies, the shows, everything. Because there was a TV series that came on 25 years ago. It actually turns 25 this year, believe it or not, Don. Smallville. Smallville was a television series.
Yeah.
And to me, it's the best one of the bunch. And Smallville got me through a difficult period in my life, and that made me a fan of not just Clark Kent, but the show in general, because, spoiler alert for a 25-year-old show, Don, but when Clark loses Jonathan in the 100th episode known as Reckoning, which is in the midst of season 5 of Smallville, more specifically, I bawled like crazy because 8 weeks prior to that episode going on the air, I lost my dad in a similar fashion the way Clark did. So when I saw that, Don, I realized this character is more relatable than I ever thought possible. Because we look at Superman, right, Don, and we think of him as this god that can't be touched. Nothing can stop him. No, this character is more human than any of us on this planet. You know, he may come from another world, but he will always belong to ours. So, I mean, Superman is, to me, no disrespect to the collector's items behind you, Don, but Superman is the GOAT. I love Batman as much as anyone else. I grew up watching 89 Batman on repeat.
Oh, yeah.
Repeat. All right? Seriously, because I'm looking at you two fine people, and I'm thinking to myself, gentlemen, let's broaden our minds. Lawrence. I mean, you know, I listen, I love Batman. I always have, always will. It's the world's finest, Don. It's the world's finest between Superman and Batman. But if someone hypothetically, if someone were to put a gun in my hand and said, you got to choose, what's it going to be? Superman every time. Every single gosh darn time. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, and that's
important.
And that's one of those great things about that character is that, I mean, he wants to be like us. I mean, he doesn't really, I mean, he could be above all of it, but that's not what he wants. And, you know, and then you get into the whole nature nurture thing. I mean, Siegel and Schuster were really, you know, granted, some of those layers were not there whenever they started, at least not maybe intentionally. But yeah, I mean, and then you get into the whole thing. Then it's an immigrant story and it's assimilation into the culture and so forth. But it's, but yeah, no, there's a lot of good Superman stuff out there. I used to love the cartoon, love the Fleischer cartoons. Those look so cool. And then, you know, the very first two movies, not, you know, although I have no problem with any of the more recent ones, really like the newest one, but yeah, really a good character, really a good character.
100%. Yeah. There's different iterations of the character over years, and definitely some stand out a little bit more than others. But yeah, I grew up on the Christopher Reeve movies. I grew up on the animated series from the 90s on Kids WB with Tim Daly voicing the character.
Yeah.
George Newbern came in for Justice League and Justice League Unlimited in the early 2000s, respectively. I've had a conversation with George Newbern. Very nice man. He's awesome. And the fact is, that guy was the love interest to Chris in Adventures in Babysitting back in '87 with Elizabeth Shue.
Oh, really?
He was the frat boy at the when they bump into that frat house, and he's the one helping them out finding their car or getting their car back from the repair shop. That's George Newbern. That's Superman. And I'm like, dude, George Newbern was in Adventures in Babysitting. That's one of the greatest 80s movies of all time. Like, it's awesome. So he was in that. He was also the the fiance to Steve Martin's daughter and Father of the Bride, Part 1 and 2. He was the husband. He was the fiance / husband because, you know, obviously they got married at the end of the first one. So I'm like, George Newbern, bro, like, you've been everywhere. You've been in the 80s. You've been in the early 90s with Steve Martin and Diane Keaton. By the way, rest in peace, Diane Keaton. And then you voiced Superman for X amount of years. I'm like, bro, George Newbern is the man. Like, I can hang out with him all day and all night long, son. That guy's got some stories, bro. Yeah. I met him once. I had my Superman shirt on. We got a picture together at AwesomeCon in Washington, D.C. I don't know if you're familiar with AwesomeCon in Washington, D.C. It's one of the biggest shows on the East Coast, respectively. Mike, you seem to know a little bit about it. But it's a great show. I met George. He was very cool, very nice. Got a picture together. I'm like, bro, I'm standing next to Superman. This is awesome. So anyone I get to meet from the DC / Superman, what do you call it, family, Don, is a life moment. That's a life moment. You gotta own that, man. You gotta live it. So anyway, sorry. Is this a Superman Appreciation Hour? No, it's not. It's about Mike Tucker and Don Davis and how
it could be, though.
It could be. Hypothetically, we could sit here and just talk about certain characters all day long. I mean, Don, you're the one who's got all the collectibles behind you. We can sit here and talk about Batman TAS all night long. But I mean, yeah. And by the way, R.I.P. Kevin Conroy. Yeah. Because every time I read a DC comic and Batman's in the storyline, Don, all I hear is Kevin Conroy's voice. It's the only voice that I hear.
Yeah, I've got it's not in this office, but I have a really nice Batman animated poster that is Batman and I mean, it's like a print. It's not like
Right.
a Spencer's gift type of thing. It's pretty big size. And
Awesome.
it was one of these things whenever comics were going crazy that they sold on QVC. So it's like limited
gosh.
edition. But anyway, it's signed by Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill because it's Batman smacking the Joker, and it's one of my favorite things. So yeah, no, he was great. You know, one more Superman thing. You know, in terms of I know that you've mentioned before that you're kind of reading some comics and that type of thing, or I would recommend, if you're a big Superman fan, there are 2 Elseworld series that I would recommend. And you probably already found them, but the one is Red Sun, where it's, and both of these go to the nature nurture thing.
Yep.
So instead of landing in Kansas, he lands in Russia.
Yeah.
And he's raised by, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they use a real historical figure or not, but he's raised in that system.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if they use Stalin.
I've read it. Okay. I own it. I have a copy of it
Oh,
in my Unfortunately, it's not here in our studio. It's in my storage locker. But yes, I do have Red Sun. So I read it. I really enjoyed it. It's a bit dark, but it's supposed to be. So it's very, very good to me. Comic books, very, very good to me. So yeah, no, Red Sun's good. What was the second one? You said there were 2. It was Red Sun.
Second one would be
what was it called?
The Dark. Oh, is it called Dark Side?
Is it called?
Instead, he lands it's a 3-issue Elseworld series. He lands on Apocalypse.
Ooh,
so instead of Darkseid raising Orion, he raises Superman instead.
Oh no, I have not read or heard of this one. I'm gonna have to pick this up. Is this available as a paperback, or is it single issues I have to look for?
Oh, you know, there's 3 issues. They're kind of you know, I'm not really sure. The way they collect everything, I bet you can probably find it somewhere collected.
Yeah, okay.
But,
I'll have to take a look for that. Mike, you're in a place that has billions of comic book shops, right? If you find it, let me know, and then you can send it my way if it falls off the back of your truck.
I got you.
Yeah, you know a thing or two about stuff up there in Rochester.
You need to hit up 4-Color Dreams on eBay. That's where all this stuff comes from. Don's been very good about being cagey, because Don's very good about being cagey. Don's basement looks like the last scene of, you know, Raiders of the Lost Ark or Citizen Kane. Whoa. Nothing but comic books. Don's been in the comics industry for almost as long as I've been alive. And if he doesn't have it, you can't get it. So a shameless plug for my friend Don's business. Go out to 4-Color Dreams on eBay. Go get this Dark Side series. Everybody who's listening to me, go get it too. And if you can't find it, get something else. There. That's Ryan, my Superman thing.
If you email me your address, I'll be happy to send you the 3-issue series. I have a couple of them because it's one of those books. Whenever I buy back issues, whenever I come across that series, I always buy it because I think it was a great series. So,
look who we're dealing with here, Mike. We got Dr. Jones himself. What can we say? Obtainer of rare antiquities.
Yeah.
Well,
I told you I had you, Brian. I told you.
Man, I appreciate you both, Mike and Don, for being with us on this episode of And I Quote thus far. And yes, Don, I will email you some information that you can have, and then you can go from there. So we'll see how that goes. Yes, thank you. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. From a Superman fan to another, in the words of DJ Cat, I appreciate you. So yes, thank you, Don. You are the man. You know what? Both you and Mike here. I'm going to say this for the record because I've said this about other individuals before, but I'll say it again. Mike Tucker, Don Davis, you're money. You're so money you don't even know it. You're like a big beer, man. Honestly, you're money, Don. Both you and Mike, you're money. You're money. You know what? Who's the big winners tonight at the casino? Mikey and Don are the winners. Mike and Donnie win. That's right. See, there you go.
Outstanding.
Where's my single malted scotch?
Exactly. Where's what time do you get off, Christy? Excellent. 6. Fantastic. Why don't you call a friend and tell her to meet the three of us at the Bamboo Lounge at 6:01? Which, by the way, full disclosure, this is a true story. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. Later this season on And I Quote, the actress who played Christy in the super awesome tacular movie known as Swingers is going to be joining us here on set We'll talk about her time working on the movies known as Swingers and Dazed and Confused, her appearances on Law and Order. She is going to be here, Don and Mike. She is going to be here, and we are going to talk to her all about that stuff. And believe me when I tell you, the first time I saw her at a convention, she was being advertised as one of the members of the cast of Dazed and Confused, the Richard Linklater 1993 coming-of-age movie. I did not know that actress was the same actress who plays the character of Christy, the waitress at the Las Vegas casino, in that scene involving Jon Favreau and Vince Vaughn from Swingers. I'm like, wait a minute, hold the phone. You're the one who was the waitress in that scene? She looks at me, she's like, yeah, that was me. I was like, what? Like, my mind was, I kid you not, Mike, I kid you not. My mind was blown like the GIF on social media, and I said, okay, Dina, your money, all right? You're so money you don't even know it. I dropped the line on her. She appreciated that, by the way, Mike. It's a true story. She appreciated that.
Is she going to bring her friend to the podcast? You know, because her friend's a Dorothy.
That's right. Yeah. What did you think of that Dorothy girl? I don't think she's going to make it this time around, but Dina is going to be with us here on Anti-Quote in the like I said, later on this season. So stay tuned. It's going to be a great time. We're very excited to have her here, and I cannot wait to ask her all the questions about shooting both the movies Swingers as well as Dazed and Confused, because those are two of the most iconic rom-com comedies, coming-of-age movies, however you want to slice them up there, ladies and gentlemen. That is going to be one heck of an interview, and I am very, very, very excited. And yes, when we met at the convention that we were at last year, it was Nostalgia, the Mid-Atlantic Nostalgia Convention, which is held in not in Hunt Valley, Maryland. They moved it to Towson, Maryland, more specifically. But we met there, and we had a great conversation, I believe it was, and she signed an 8x10 for me. We got a selfie together, and I believe, yes, it's on our social media, so feel free to check out that picture that we took with Dina Martin. And if it's not there, let me know and I can send it to you guys, because I was like, my mind is so blown right now that you were in both movies that I love. Granted, I like them for different reasons, yes, but still, it's awesome. It's just money. Everything is money. You know what else is money? The fact that you who's watching or listening to this episode of Anti-Quote are still sitting here enjoying the madness, because we are the cream that rises to the top. Oh yeah, the cream of the crop. Don't forget to like and share if you have any questions for Don and Mike. I forgot who I was talking to for a second. Sorry, my brain is on pop culture overload, gentlemen. Let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. Quick question, though. Mike, any special memories for you from being at conventions, whether you're there as the vendor or the attendee?
The cool thing for me about conventions is kind of 96, the first Armies of the Night issue comes out. We got invited as guests to the Chicago Comic-Con, and that was just a really heady experience. Don and I behind the same tables that the Image Comics guys were behind, that Steve Rude was behind, that I think we met Bendis at that one, didn't we, Don? Brian Michael Bendis was there. Yeah, he was he had his black and white work in that. So that really, and Don and I've been to a bunch of shows, trust me, but that's the one that really comes to mind the soonest or the quickest, I guess.
I gotcha. What about you, Don? Any fond memories for being at conventions, whether you're there as the vendor or the attendee?
Quite a few. I mean, the first one I set up as a dealer was a St. Louis show, a long time ago, more than 40 years ago. And almost maybe closer to 50. Anyway, I went with my cousin. We took the bus. So it gives you some idea that we weren't even old enough to drive down to the hotel there in St. Louis. And Michael Golden was one of the guests. And I just love Michael Golden stuff. So so that was exciting to be able to meet him. And I think my first, as far as being the dealer there, I just remember my cousin and I just being just total idiots, totally obnoxious about it, because one, we were, and at one point in time, standing on the table, encouraging people to come and
that was you?
Buy my comics. That was me.
I was at that show with my grandmother. Brent Anderson was there too.
He was. And it was so high tech. We brought my comic book inventory in paper shopping bags. So it was quite the adventure. But
did I buy that Doctor Strange issue that Golden did from you? Was that you?
I don't think no, you did not. I've got a photographic memory, and I know I don't really have a photographic memory, but I'm going to bet it wasn't you. But going to the first Chicago Comic Con, not Wizard World. We're talking about 1977, I think, and I got to meet Marshall Rogers, who I was a big fan of. John Byrne was there all the time, always doing sketches, and I had him do a really cool spirit sketch for me. My whole thing, whenever I would go to conventions and get sketches, I would always, traditionally, most of the people I got sketches from, I asked them to draw something that they didn't ordinarily draw. So, which, they usually responded to really well. I mean, they put a little extra time into it. John Byrne was happy not to have to draw another Wolverine sketch. And Marshall Rogers did a Nightcrawler for me, which I had to get him the reference material. And he had fun with that, and just things like that. But there were a lot of really good people there. Frank Miller, when he was first coming up, Walt Simonson was there, John Byrne, just a bunch of people, Joe Rubenstein, just a bunch of people from that era in comics. And it was, you were able to talk to them for a little bit and then also watch them. I mean, they were there to sketch. So it was a lot of fun.
Wow, man, a lot of legends that you two fine gentlemen have met over the years. And John Byrne, he wrote some Superman stuff, if I remember correctly, didn't he?
Oh yeah, he had whenever he left Marvel, it was to do the Superman series, and he did action and Superman for a period of time. So
yeah, a lot of people have said that over the years that John Byrne is their favorite Superman writer, if not one of their favorite Superman writers for that character. So I respect that wholeheartedly. And a lot of the animated series from the 90s was based off of some of the storylines that John Byrne incorporated.
Yeah.
So, which is really cool because, like I said, I grew up watching that show on a weekly basis on Kids WB at the time, Don, and I think I bought not all the seasons because I got to be honest with you, I've seen all 3 seasons of the original Superman the animated series from the 90s, but season 2 just wasn't quite as strong as the first and the third one was, in my opinion. So I ended up getting, passing on season 2 to something else, and then just kept season 1 and 3, and I had them signed by Tim Daly. So.
Oh wow! Yeah. Now was this? That's the autograph thing is interesting because at one point in time they were artists and people would sign things for free. They got for the fans, but that shifted over the years, and with television or media stars, I can understand that. Otherwise, they would probably get overwhelmed with some of it. So now at that point in time, was he charging, or was it still in that framework where they would still do stuff for real fans for free?
I think at this point, my friend got these autographs on my behalf because I physically couldn't go to this event. It was at Terrificon in Connecticut, if anyone's familiar with Terrificon, I believe. So my friend Jeff went up there, and I gave him the DVDs and said, "Hey, could you possibly get Tim Daly to sign these and have him sign it Tim Daly -Superman? Because I don't just want the signature of the actor. I want them to sign it with their actor name and the character name, because to me, that makes the circle, in the words of Vader, the circle is now complete. I want it to be a complete circle. Like, I don't just want your signature. No. I want your character signature as well. I want you to write both, because I need to know who you play. I mean, granted, I know who you play, but it's like, I want it, in the words of the court proceedings, state your name and occupation for the record. I want it for the record, Mike. I want it for the freaking record. So Tim Daly signed his Tim Daly -Superman. Thank you, by the way. when I met Tom and Michael from Smallville at AwesomeCon, like I was telling you guys earlier, I had Funko Pops from Smallville. They had Smallville Funko, because Funko Pops are a big thing, right? So I had Tom and Michael sign them with their name and the character that they portrayed. Now, granted, this is on our social media, so this isn't a spoiler, but Tom signed it in blue and red ink. Tom Welling up here, Clark Kent down here. Yes, that's perfection, ladies and gentlemen. And then Michael looks at me and he says, I'll sign this for you, but do you want me to sign it with the line where I say, I am the villain of the story? And I'm like, Mike, I love you. You're the man, but I just want your name and your character name, please. And he did it anyway. He was cool, though. Like, he didn't mind, but I could tell that there was a part of him that wanted to add that little extra flavor to it. And I'm like, you know what? The next time I see Mike, maybe I'll have him sign with the line on the side of the box there, fellas. But if not, it's okay, because like I said, I got them signed. They're JSA authenticated. Everything's cool. And they're in one of those protective cases, so they're not going to be damaged in any way, shape, or form, just so everybody's clear, Don. So, because I take my collectibles very seriously, right? So you want to keep these things fresh as a daisy for as long as you can. So these babies are in cases. So every single Funko Pop I've ever gotten signed, whether it was actually being there physically at the convention or I got them through a third party, they're all authenticated and they got cases in them. So they're safe. Like, I got to be honest with you. I think I have, like a dozen Funko Pops signed by a bunch of different actors, including, Ashley Eckstein, the voice of Ahsoka Tano from Star Wars, The Clone Wars, and Rebels.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
She's cool. I like her a lot. Let's see. What's another Funko Pop I got? I got Kevin Nash, the wrestler who played Super Shredder and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze. That was him in the Super Shredder outfit at the end of that movie.
Oh, wow.
Well, that's a fun fact for you fine folks at home. So I had him sign it. Can you sign this Kevin Nash - Super Shredder? He did it. No problem. No questions asked. So, and I got that encased, baby, because it's TMNT, son. So I'm a big Turtles fan.
Growing up, all my kids were big fans, and it made me a big fan. And then at one point in time, I had like the first, I don't know how many 100 or so of the Playmates figures.
Oh my gosh!
But like right behind me right now is I sold them all probably way too early, but I sold them all except for my Universal Monsters turtles.
Oh yeah,
and those I
crossover, yeah,
yeah. So those were. Hang on 1 second. I know this is probably terrible video, but who would you like to see as the Universal monster? Assuming that you would want to see one as a Universal.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I appreciate the crossover, although I prefer the monsters to stay as themselves. But I don't know. I guess my favorite turtle back in the day was always Leonardo, and then it became Raphael.
Okay,
so
Leonardo. Okay, well, I'm going to pull Leonardo down.
Oh, gee.
And showing it to you,
here, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we're doing on this show on national television. And Mike, you're just a spectator of this at this point because you've been awfully quiet over there. But then again, we've been having too much fun conversing as it is.
Well, I mean, this gives us an opportunity to talk about why your viewers should read Armies of the Night, Long Time Gone. Yeah. It's your, your cliche. Boy meets girl, boy loses girl, boy tries to resurrect girl using a failed botched attempt at resurrection, and instead releases a demon into an unsuspecting world who then kills the boy. So now the boy's got to undo all the trouble that he's caused. The issues really start, piling up for him once they bring, it's the rest of the story. And there's werewolves and gangsters. Volkswagen bus fixers into it. There's a German shepherd. We've got a voodoo witch. There's a Navajo shaman, and it all makes sense in the end, believe it or not. If that isn't a recipe for a fun yarn, I just don't know what is.
Unbelievable. Believe it. You got it, Don?
Did I kill enough time, Don?
You did. You did.
Leo as the Wolfman, which, by the way, Lon Chaney Jr. as the Wolfman is one of my favorite Universal monster movies of all time, hands down.
Yeah, he did a really good.
That's good looking, actually.
Yeah, it's one of my sons is still a really big Turtles fan.
Nice.
And so he also happens to really like Universal monsters. So
I like Universal.
So these have been promised to him. Otherwise, they probably would have been sold by now.
Respect
But
it. Respect it. Respect.
but yeah, I mean, I love those. So they're a lot of fun.
Respect, and that's one of my favorite movies. You know, it's a fun fact. The first time I ever saw a Universal Monster movie was at a convention. I was at a convention.
Really?
It was at the Mid-Atlantic Nostalgia Convention that was originally held in Hunt Valley, Maryland, before they had to move it to a different venue in a different part of the state. In this case, I think they moved it to Towson, Maryland. So they had a theater room at the original venue, just so everybody's clear. Like I said, this was in Hunt Valley, Maryland, off I-83. So they were showing the movie Creature from the Black Lagoon that night because the suit actor, I forget his name, but Rico Browning. Yeah. So Rico Browning was there as a guest that weekend, and he was going to do a Q&A before the movie had started. So I went to the panel, saw his panel. It was a great time. Everybody was very respectful, very nice. And the gentleman, Rico Browning, is a very kind man for someone who's, you know, up there in age, with all due respect. It was great. And then we watched the movie, and I got to be honest with you, Don, my mind was blown because I had never seen any of the movies leading up to that point. But as soon as the movie was over, I went out to one of the vendors. I got it on Blu-ray the next morning. I thought, wow, this movie is awesome. It's only 75 minutes long, but it tells a complete story. It moves from point A to point B. The acting is solid. And this is something I've come to appreciate more and more as I get a bit older and a bit wiser. I've got the gray hairs in the back of my head. Black and white movies are some of the better made films because all the Universal Monster movies have been good. The ones I like specifically are Creature from the Black Lagoon, Lon Chaney Jr.'s The Wolfman, Claude Rains' The Invisible Man, and Claude Rains once again in The Phantom of the Opera.
Oh yeah,
The
Phantom of the Opera was a lot of fun. I love the creature movies. I'm sure that this is a bit of trivia that you already know, but one of Clint Eastwood's, I've heard it said it was his first movie. I mean, he's hardly on screen. He plays a cop in
Scientist or something. Yeah.
He's on the beach, and he's in Creature from the Black. The third movie. Walks Among Us, I think, is that
either The Creature Walks Among Us or Return of the Creature or something like that.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I apologize. I don't have the exact title off the top of my head or in here in front of my screen right now. But yeah, and it's because they referenced that in Back to the Future Part 3. He's like, look at me, Doc. Clint Eastwood wouldn't want anything like this. Clint who? That's right. You haven't heard of him yet. And then there's a picture of the poster for the Return of the Creature, and I'm like, jokes. We like it. We like it all. It's been very, very good to me. So here's a bit of a, what do you call it? A quick rapid fire question for both you fine gentlemen. Mike, what is a book that belongs on everyone's bookshelf that is not one of your own? I'm specifically, and it could be a book with words on a page or a comic book, either one.
That's a great question. I would say if you're interested in writing, you really should read Stephen King's book on writing. And if you're not interested in writing, but you're interested in like the creative process or just sort of time management, that's another. It's a worthy endeavor. Yeah, I'd say Stephen King's On Writing is a good one to go with.
Nice. What about you, Don? What is a book that belongs on everyone's bookshelf, whether it's a book with words on a page or a comic book?
Well, I'm going to have to go with To Kill a Mockingbird. I was an English major for the first couple of years of my collegiate experience, and then so I read a lot of that stuff, but that's a book that I will go back and reread. And I just think it's a great book. I mean, and probably followed closely by Catcher in the Rye. Old lit guy references, I think.
Yeah, you're throwing it way back a couple hundred years there, buddy boy. But I respect it all the same because the classics never go out of style. That's some good picks there. We had to read To Kill a Mockingbird for class back in the day, and thought it was okay. I thought the writing was okay. And then I watched the movie with Gregory Peck, and that was just a whole other level.
Oh, I love that movie. That's one of my all-time favorite movies. But yeah, being forced to read it usually never works out that well. It's better if you come to it on your own. But or I think so. I mean, something. I'm trying to think if there was ever a book I wasn't assigned that I really enjoyed despite it being a forced march type of a thing. The one that leaps to mind, I guess, would probably be Alas Babylon, which is about the fallout after a war. So it's set in this town, in a little town in Florida. So I believe it's Florida. But anyway, I really enjoyed that one, and that was an assigned read.
Wow, we're really kicking it back old school here. I think LeVar Burton would be very impressed, but you don't have to take my word for it. Anyway, so see, I caught you now. It's Saturday morning, fellas. We're doing some throwbacks here because we appreciate that all the same. Well done, PBS, for that kind of programming back in the heyday. Throwing it out there. What about you? How about this one, Mike? Who's an author, living or dead, you want to have a conversation with, and why?
Why do I get all the tough ones first? You give all Don the softball questions, and then I get the living or dead. Again, there's just so many, right? I think that Robert E. Howard would be fun to talk to. I think that Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Who else? Poe, Edgar Allan Poe, right? That's a long time ago. More current. He gets a reputation for being cranky online, but I think Alan Moore would be hilarious to talk to. Michael Moorcock would be great. Alternatively, I'm fortunate to have had a bunch of really interesting conversations with a bunch of really interesting living authors. So that kind of truncates the list from the beginning. But that's a good start. Who you got, Don?
Yeah, that's a good one. What about you, Don?
Stephen King. I've met him, but it was, very much one of those convention situations where you get to say, hey, I love your stuff, please sign this, and you move along. So I've never really had a real long conversation with him. But I just, share a lot of his same interest in the cultural stuff, not just obviously the horror stuff, but he was, he's probably about 10 years older than I am, give or take, probably a little less than that. And so a lot of his kind of cultural touchstones are mine as well. So you'd have to be interested in talking to Edgar Allan Poe, although, you might need to be using opium at the time, or I forget. I think it was opium that was his substance of choice. So, you have to make sure you catch him on a good day. Either that, or you have to be ready to kind of jump in there with him. So otherwise, I don't think most conversations with people who are under the influence are that great. They can be for short times.
Jeez.
As long as you have the ability to, easy access to an exit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Kind of reminds me of what Jay Peterman taught us. The Thread Lane, White Lotus, Yam Yam, Shanghai Sally. You press a positive opium. Anyway, speaking of Robert E. Howard, I have this here as a form of inspiration when I'm sitting down and I'm attempting to write and read. It's a bit of a reminder for me. Now, granted, this sketch cover was done by our good friend DJ Weidrich on social media. You can find him at DJW32 on Instagram. He did the sketch cover of Conan the Barbarian where it says, write every day and read every day, folks. Yeah. So
very cool.
That is a sick-looking sketch cover, and I'm like, bro, I have to have this. I mean, I like swords anyway because I grew up watching shows and movies that involve sword fights or swords and that kind of deal. So I was like, yeah, I'll go with some Conan the Barbarian. Why not? So, it's
very
Robert
cool.
Howard, bro. It's Robert E. Howard. Plus, now, granted, I have the collected stories of the coming of Conan the Cimmerian over here in the full-length stories in their illustrated form too. There's illustrations in that book. Which is really cool. I look forward to reading that. Once again, it's on my TBR, fellas. It's on my TBR. But it's really fascinating because my favorite character so far that I've seen an adaptation of this character by Robert E. Howard is the movie Solomon Kane with James Purefoy. It's a really good movie, and it's a great origin story. And Solomon Kane is a badass character who's a very flawed character, but his character journey throughout that hour, 45-minute movie, I would say, is very, very good to me. So if I were you, I go to YouTube or Tubi or what's the other one? What's the other one we use around here? Pluto. Stream it. It's free with ads on all the streaming services. Check it out. There you go. Free plugs for James Purefoy, who's a very criminally underrated actor. By the way, if you don't know who James Purefoy is, look him up on imdb.com. Once again, hashtag not sponsor of this broadcast.
He was the villain in The Following, correct?
Mm-hmm. With 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. That's right.
Yeah. That I just finished streaming that series.
Did you?
Yeah, loved it. I mean, he is a good actor. I'm trying to think what else he.
I think he was in Rome, if I'm not mistaken. The HBO series Rome, I think it was, or maybe one of the other Greek Roman shows.
I always kind of get him confused with
who's the other one?
Another actor that's kind of the same physicality as he is, but in the same general, they get the same type of general roles, but I can't remember what it is now. But anyway,
that's going to rack our brains for all. But yeah, no, Solomon Kane's a great movie. Check it out for those of you who are unfamiliar with the character, or you want an introduction to Robert E. Howard as a writer. Mm-hmm. Check out Solomon Kane. It's good stuff. But you know what else? Because this whole entire portion, and this whole entire episode, I should rather say, of Van Dyke Court has been incredible, amazing, and above all else, it's been super. No pun intended, Don. No pun intended. Well, thanks for the opportunity to say today. Thank you to both Mike Tucker and Don Davis for being with us. Gentlemen, it has been an honor and a privilege having you here on set. It's been an honor and a privilege talking to you both and learning more about your series, what's to come, and all the wonderful things you've done with your careers thus far. I mean, hey, you guys are only 25 and 30 years old, respectively, so your careers are just getting started. So, Mike Tucker, I got to ask you this one first. If someone wants to know more about you and some of the stuff you're doing, where can they follow you, Mike?
The place to find us is on Amazon, honestly. That's where the books are. We've got our author bios there. Every once in a while, there's some kind of, interesting stuff going on.
Oh, I think you cut out there for us a second there, Mike. You okay?
Oh, no, he got frozen.
Oh, we lost him. Shoot. I think we lost you there, Mike. You may want to jump out and jump back in. I'm so sorry. But anything you wish to plug while we're waiting on Mike's reappearance here, Don? Anything you wish to share for those who want to follow your work individually?
No, the one individual project I'm working on right now is it's kind of been put to the side a little bit, but it's called Crossroads. I mean, it won't be out forever, but I mention it simply because the villain in the very first book that I had published, Sins of the Flesh, we had a secondary villain in that seemed to resonate with readers. They really liked him, and I really liked him. As a matter of fact, I co-wrote that book with my brother, and we were collaborating. Luckily, he only lived about a mile away from me, so we were able to collaborate pretty easily. And he he was writing this one chapter towards the end, and he killed this guy. And we rarely disagreed, but I said, no, you can't kill this villain. The villain's name is, this is a big sell. I can't even remember his name now. Eugene Latham. So anyway, Crossroads kind of picks his story back up. And so for those people who really enjoyed Sins, or at least enjoyed the character of Eugene Latham, they'll be able to someday be able to read a story that puts him a little bit more front and center.
Awesome sauce. Appreciate you sharing it with us, man. Mike, I see that you're back with us. Can you can unmute yourself and continue your plugs? I'm so sorry. Go ahead. Can you? Oh, Mike, I can hear you, I can see you, but I can't. Let me see.
Yeah.
Oh, can't hear. Oh no, you can't hear us. Oh boy.
Oh my.
He's apologizing to us. Well, I'm sorry, Mike. One thing you could do is jump out and jump back in. Let me see here. I can always give him that note. Sorry, folks. We seem to be having some technical difficulties. We're going to try to get this. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, just give him that heads up there. Well, he's and I get So feel free to jump out and jump back in, Mike, as if you can, because then you can do your social media plugs. Yeah, so you can try that. But yes, Don, it has been an honor and a pleasure talking with both you fine gentlemen. I wish you guys nothing but success. I look forward to getting 10,000 more pieces of reading materials in my mailbox. It's going to jam it all up because my TBR just continues to grow ever so slightly. It's absolutely insane. You back with us there, Mike?
Yeah, I can hear you guys again. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened.
It's okay. But yeah, for those of you just tuning in and wondering what the living heck is going on, Mike Tucker, if someone wants to know more about you, where can they follow you? What's the plug? Go for it.
Okay. Well, I was saying this the last time. Best place for me and Don, honestly, is Amazon. That's where the books are. That's where our author bios are. That's where all the other links are. You can also find us on Substack. We've got a semi-frequent newsletter like every other author on the face of the earth. No podcast though, so we're unique in that respect. And then on Threads, I'm on Threads as Other Tucker. So come find us, buy the books, love the books, read the books, and we'll talk more about those some other time.
Absolutely, good sir. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you both for being here. I do greatly appreciate it, and I look forward to talking with you both again soon. And you're always welcome to come back here on A Night Quote. And we do a show once a month called the Writer Showcase, where we gather a group of writers of different genres together, and I ask them a series of questions, and we take questions from the audience, and it's a lot of fun. So if you both are interested in that, send me an email. Let me know what's going on if you're free. We normally do it on the last third or fourth Saturday of each month at 7 o'clock Eastern time, just more specifically. So feel free to let us know about that, folks. But in the meantime, my name is Ryan of A Night Quote Channel. Follow me across all forms of social media simply at, where am I pointing to? Where is it? At And I Quote Channel. That's where you can catch up on all our shows, all the past shows, all the stuff we're going to be planning for the remainder of the year of 2026. Also, if you want to check out my short story, it's called Wolf of the West. And it's a Western short story that was published as a part of the Veritas Entertainment's Western Tales Volume 1 anthology, which is available in ebook, paperback, and hardcover, which you can find on Amazon. Links are in the description below and also on my link tree and in our social media bios. And also we have merch. We have shirts. We have hoodies because the seasons are changing, folks. Seasons are changing. Also got stickers you can add to your water bottles. We have coffee mugs, notebooks, pens, all kinds of wonderful things. In our Redbubble store, links are in our link tree, which is located down in the description of this video down below. It's also located in our social media bios, more specifically. So there you go. Once again, Night Quote is on Saturdays, 12 o'clock Eastern time. Movie watch-alongs are on Friday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Night Quote's normally at 12 p.m. Eastern time, excuse me. And thank you so much for being here. We cannot do the show without you. We also want to let you know that we have a new series coming up here on the channel. It is called The Shadow Council. It's going to be our after show for the new series known as Maul Shadow Lord, the latest Star Wars animated series project that's going to be streaming on Disney Plus. # not sponsor of this show. We're going to have that for you every Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to drop it first on April the 11th, and then every Saturday after that, we are going to be sitting here talking about the next 2 episodes of Maul Shadow Lord. I am excited for this show, and I'm excited to talk Star Wars because Star Wars has been around for almost 50 years, which is, Don and I were talking about this earlier. I think it, came out in 1977, Don. I'm sorry to date you there, pal, but it's been around for almost 5 decades of awesomeness. So there you go. Fun fact for those of you watching and listening to this program at home. So join us for the Shadow Council Saturdays starting April 11th at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you so much for being here. Do not forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, ring the bell to be notified of when our videos go up or they go live. Remember, life is better when supporting indie creators from all over the world. Take a look.
Trellin of Ulia is a cursed man, and cursed men are dangerous. He has traveled the known world seeking a way to lift his curse. So far, he has not found what he is looking for. When Trellin arrives in the city of Anshi, in the nation of Paraba, he meets a cold reception. The desert nation is unforgiving. Its people have proven untrustworthy, and the locals have no love for foreigners. Now, a wealthy stranger offers to lift Trellin's curse for a price, and he must make a choice. Seek a solution elsewhere, or risk imprisonment in the Tower of Ruach, a place from whence no man has ever escaped. The known world of Atera, the prisoner of Ruach Tower. Now available on Amazon in paperback and on Kindle.
I've been a superhero for a long time. It used to be so simple. You catch the bad guys, do the right thing, save the world. Then I met Aiden, and things got complicated.
Pirates recruited me as a kid and turned me into their own personal weapon. I couldn't see any way out until I met Marty. But now we're going to burn their entire organization down if we can.
Forces of Nature, books 1 and 2, Scorcher and Thin Ice are available now wherever books are sold online. See www.kellygentner.com.
Good morning. Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.